Hello, Lainey.
Hello, Grace. How's it? That was very positive, but
I
I feel
know.
very positive. How's
Yes,
it going?
it's going really, really, really well because we are here for our last Writers to Watch of 2025, which is crazy. And that means our next Writers to Watch will be our 3-year anniversary, which is
3 years.
wild to think about. But I'm very excited because we have a gorgeous lineup of authors for all of you.
Yeah, so we're getting to our third anniversary. January is coming. It's going to be on the 15th. We have 3 of 4 authors lined up, so just stay tuned for a big announcement. And we're going to keep going into the new year. Grace, you want to tell them what they get if they are on Crowdcast?
Yeah, if you are on Crowdcast, you will be auto approved to download the e-galleys that are available. Sometimes we have authors on early enough for the e-galleys not up, but you'll get the e-galleys auto approval for that month's authors, so you can read ahead of time or read after, whatever floats your boat. But yeah, it's a perk of being on Crowdcast, and we send out reminders on Crowdcast pretty regularly. We don't spam you, I promise, but you'll get reminders. So yeah, that's
I
a
feel like I'm
crowd.
on a game show. I'm like, come on down. What did they win? Okay. So is that the only housekeeping? I think so, Grace, right?
Yeah, I think so. And if
Okay.
you,
Oh, just a note, our newsletter is a great way to know who's going to be coming for the next month, how to also access ways to download eGalleys. And we are, with the Baker and Taylor changes, we are doing books on sale for weeks going into the new year. So hopefully that'll keep you updated on any orders you need to change over. Sign up for our newsletter, and you can do that at librarylovefest.com. Okay, that's the end of the commercial portion of the night. So we are very excited for our December group of authors. Tonight, we're going to hear from Joshilyn Jackson, author of Missing Sister, out March 3rd. We're going to hear from Kate Quinn, the author of the Astral Library, out February 17th. We're going to hear from Rainbow Rowell, author of Cherry Baby, out for April 14th. And then Willy Vlautin, author of The Left and the Lucky, out April 14th as well. So we've got some March, April authors coming your way. So I think without further ado, everyone's so excited in the chat. Let's go.
all right, let's do it. So we are going to welcome on Joshilyn. Hello.
Unmute. Hi.
I'm so
Hi.
happy you're here. Welcome
I'm
back to the
happy
show.
to. Thank you. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, and Lainey, so much for having me. And congrats on 3 years. I
Thank you.
am really, really excited because I know how many librarians tune into this, and librarians are the dealers of my drug of choice, books. So I'm always happy to talk to. I'm always happy to talk to you guys, and also the library is probably the most egalitarian institution we have in this country. Thank you for existing. Please never stop. And third, I am a Library Reads Hall of Fame author, which means that so many librarians have recommended my books and put them into the hands of readers, which to me, that makes you very, very sexy beasts. And I love you. And I know firsthand from that how powerful you guys are. So it's exciting to me to get to talk to you a little bit about Missing Sister. I just want to tell you a little bit about the book, see if I can't get you hooked. I love the narrator of this book. Her name is Penny Albright. And Penny is, she's so, I think she's an optimist who's kind of been crushed, but she's like fighting her way back, and she's tough and she's smart and she has such a good heart. And about 5 years ago, Penny lost her twin sister, Nicole Nix. And it's 5 years later, she's just now starting to get a leg over it. And the way she has sort of reinvented herself in a world without her twin in it is Nix was like a hard charger who was going to change the world. And Penny isn't that kind of person, but she's decided to become a police officer. She's gone to the police academy, because she lost her sister to the opioid epidemic. And she has a mentor named Delilah Williams, who's a really good cop. And she thought if there were more cops in the world like Delilah Williams, Nix might still be here. So she is finishing up her training shifts. This is one of her last 3 shifts with Delilah before she like gets her own car and her own beat. And they are called to the scene of a violent stabbing. Y'all, it's baby's first murder. So she heads over there and she's nervous, as anybody would be, a little sick to the stomach, a little scared. Things are getting real. And when she gets onto the crime scene, she realizes she knows this guy, this dead man lying in a pool of his own blood. She knows him. He is one of 3 men that she blames for her sister's downward spiral and eventual death. Now, coincidentally, the first of those 3 men turned up dead in another city at a botched robbery, a crime that remains unsolved to this day. And now the second one, dead in an alley behind a shopping mall not 2 months later. Sure, coincidence. Penny's kind of spiraling. She walks off the crime scene. She walks out into the darkness. She leaves the area that the cops have cleared. And she comes across a woman drenched in blood, holding a box cutter. And she's like, oh, crap. She has walked right straight to the murderer like a darn homing pigeon. And they're just staring at each other. It's this sort of femme fatale, gorgeous blonde in a like blonde Batman in a $3,000 suit and ruined suit, covered in blood. And they look at each other and they talk a little bit. And Penny knows, like, she's got to take this woman in, right? She's a cop. This is her job. This is what she signed up for. And the woman, Thalia, says, yeah, you know what? This is not a story about cute little baby cops who accidentally stagger into solving the biggest murder of the year. And Penny says, oh, yeah, what is this story about? And Thalia says, it's about sisters. And Penny lets her go. And from that moment on, Penny is down the rabbit hole. Who is this woman? Total stranger. Why is she avenging Nix? And with that third man still alive, what's Penny's responsibility here? It is a fun ride. The heart of it, I think, is Penny and her family, the Albright family. I can't wait for you to meet them.
Oh, that was a great pitch. And I got chills when you were talking about it, which is exactly how I felt when I was reading that scene that you just described where they're having that initial conversation.
Mm.
I had like my jaw was dropped the entire time. I was like, there's no way she's gonna let her go. Like that would be crazy. That would be crazy. And then she did. So thank you so much. I'm gonna read a really quick bio about you. Joshilyn Jackson is a New York Times and USA Today bestselling author of 11 other novels, including Gods in Alabama and Never Have I Ever. Her books have been translated into more than a dozen languages. Jackson is also a former actor and an award-winning audiobook narrator. A recent expat from the American South, she and her family have settled in upstate New York. And yes, you are a Library Reads Hall of Famer. So we are just so thrilled to have you here. And again, Missing Sister is on sale March 3rd. So I'm going to say goodbye to you for now and put you back in that virtual green room. And we'll see you in a bit. Thank you.
Okay, speaking of Library Reads Hall of Famer, I'm going to welcome on screen Kate Quinn, and we're going to talk about the Astral Library. So first, yeah, Kate, come on. Hello. I've got 10 pages showing here. Let me show your beautiful cover. How are you?
I'm doing great. It is so lovely to be back here. I count myself so lucky to be a Hall of Famer, and I know exactly what librarians have done for my books. I am so thankful to all of you. You really are the book dragons, and it's an inside joke you're going to understand once you read the Astral Library.
Yes, we're going to get into that. Okay, so I'm going to do a bio and then I'm going to hand it off to you, okay? So, Kate Quinn is the New York Times and USA bestselling author of historical fiction. A native of Southern California, she attended Boston University. We're going to talk about Boston as well, where she earned your bachelor's and master's degrees in classical voice. A lifelong history buff, she has written 4 novels in the Empress of Rome saga and 2 books set in the Italian Renaissance, before turning to the 20th century with the Alice Network, The Huntress, The Rose Code, The Diamond Eye, and The Briar Club. All books our librarians would know very well. And the Astral Library is Kate's first foray into magical realism. And she and her husband now live in Maryland with their rescue dogs. I cannot wait. I'm telling you, this book, so many people have been reading and loving it, and I could not put it down. So please tell us more. The Astral Library.
Well, the Astral Library is a bit of a departure for me. As you know, historical fiction is my usual playground, but I got an idea. And this was around the time of lockdown was starting to end, and I had an idea and I couldn't let go of it. And it was sort of a fantastical, magical realism idea. And I pitched it to my editor thinking she was probably going to shoot it down, and she didn't. Bless her, she loved it. And so I was able to write this, and it is something different for me, but it is something I've loved so much. And it is all revolving from the single point of inspiration, which is, have you ever wanted to live inside a book? And if you're a book lover, I think the answer is obvious, that the answer to that is yes. We have all dreamed of that. I certainly have, ever since I was a kid. And that's the point of inspiration for this book, which follows a down on her luck bookworm named Alex, who lives in the modern day in Boston and works 3 dead-end jobs to barely scrape by. She's aged out of the foster care system. She has really no one who cares for her. The only things that have ever been there for her that have never let her down have been books and libraries. And so when she has the worst day in the history of bad days and loses her bank account, her identity, which is stolen, her roommates kick her out of her apartment, she loses her job because the wrong guy at the wrong moment tells her, "Smile, honey." And at the end of this deeply terrible day, when she's just looking at the wreckage of her life, she runs to the place that she's always considered sanctuary, which is the reading room of the Boston Public Library. If you've never been there, it's one of the most gorgeous reading spaces you've ever seen. I spent untold hours there, and when I was a college student, and I very deliberately put Alex there because that is the entrance for her to the Astral Library, which is a liminal space that exists between all the libraries in the world, and it can open from any library in the world, whether it's a grand reading space like the Boston Public Library Reading Room, or whether it's just the worst underfunded, roach-infested little branch library in the worst area of town, because all libraries have that bit of magic in them. And the Astral Library is a place where all books exist. It is guarded over by a very grumpy librarian, capital L. You do not want her to shush you. And it is a place where lost and desperate bookworms are offered the opportunity to escape into new lives inside their favorite books. Now, there are rules about how you can do that, and you will learn about that once you learn the rules and the world of the Astral Library. But before Alex can escape into the pages of her new life, she comes into the realization that someone or something, a shadowy enemy, is targeting the library. And she ends up bookmarking her way from book to book, running from one classic to the next, from the champagne parties of The Great Gatsby to the royal balls of the Three Musketeers to the town streets from Pride and Prejudice. And as she goes from book to book, from volume to volume, using her book lover's knowledge to stay one step ahead of the enemy, she has to wonder, who is really the target here? Is it the librarian? Is it the library? Or is it Alex herself? And I think of this book as my love letter to libraries and librarians everywhere. And there's a reason I call you book dragons. I grew up running around libraries. My mom was a librarian herself. And I know the importance of libraries today more than ever. And I think in part this book was not only, my sidestep into fantasy because I love it, but it's also the fact that I have a lot of feelings, very strong ones, about the attack that libraries find themselves under, the fact that they are chronically underfunded, that they are continually being managed sometimes by people who have no idea what a library is, that it is not a business, that it's not something that's supposed to be run like a business, that it is a sanctuary, and that it is a sanctuary that so many people depend on today more than ever. And so this is my book that pays homage to that and to the power that librarians have and that story has in all of our lives. And I really can't wait for it to shelves. I love it. And I really hope that you love it too.
Oh, thank you. It's so true. Every page, I had so many things highlighted because it was just, it really is an ode to librarians, what they mean to everyone. I mean, magical or not, I mean, because they're magical in our minds, right? And so you've written just this really beautiful ode. There's a great Sarah Pinner quote I'm going to read. If you've ever wished to tumble straight into your favorite novel, here's your chance with a cheeky heroine who you'll root for from page one. This is bound to be one of the biggest books of the year. Sarah Pinner said it first. And so we have had a lot of people today. We do a monthly thing called Galley Chat, and librarians get on and talk about galleys they're reading, and everyone was shouting out the Astral Library. They were very excited because I think you're just talking to your people, you know. And so we'll ask them more questions about it, but I do want to show this great image for if you want to talk about the end papers.
Yes, this book is actually getting the special edition treatment, which made me, absolutely, geek out and fangirl in a huge way because I love special editions. Who doesn't? So it not only is there going to be this limited collector's edition run where it has these gorgeous sprayed edges. You can see them. They're sort of iridescent blue. You've got these beautiful marbled end papers. And then there's this detail, which I love, which is the library card detail that you see on there. It's not a removable card, but it is the design of the library card, the old-fashioned one. And if you tell me that you don't remember old-fashioned library cards, I'm just going to shrivel up and die because I'll realize how old I am. But most of us remember them, right? I mean, those old-fashioned cards, I love those. And so it has that detail too, and I really just absolutely squeed when I saw that. So if you can order still the deluxe limited edition, and I would encourage you to do so before they run out, because that is going to be a limited line.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. And the blue is gorgeous. Oh, I know. The library card just really was the finishing touch on that.
No.
Okay, well, thank you so much. We're gonna put you in the virtual green room and then we'll come back and ask some more questions in a minute. I'm gonna hand it over to Grace.
Thank you. I am very excited to welcome Rainbow Rowell on screen. Hello.
Hi, Grace. How are you?
Good. I'm so excited that you're here. I was so happy that I got to talk to you last time you were on Writers to Watch about Slow Dance. And now I get to talk to you about Cherry Baby, which I love so much. I'm going to read a quick bio and then I'll let you take it away and tell everybody about this fantastic novel that has me thinking so heavily about everything in my life. So Rainbow Rowell is the #1 New York Times bestselling author of Slow Dance, Eleanor and Park, and the Simon Snow trilogy, as well as several other award-winning novels, short stories, and comics. She lives with her family in Omaha, Nebraska. And without further ado, take it away.
Well, thanks for having me back. It's always a pleasure for me to talk to librarians. I am all over the library, so I'm not just on one shelf. I've written YA, I've written comics, I've written for adults, I've written some fantasy, and I'm just so grateful for librarians for helping people find me and for keeping up with me and kind of supporting me no matter where I land. This is a book for adults, Cherry Babies. Well, it's a book about an adult. I don't really care who reads it. It's about Cherry, who's 32. And so when Cherry met her husband, they were both young artists, broke, working entry-level graphic design jobs. Tom had a webcomic back then. Grace, have you read webcomics? So like 10 years ago.
I have, yes. I have.
Webcomics were different 10 years ago. They were not quite as popular. So Tom has a webcomic, and it's an autobiographical webcomic, which means that when he starts dating Cherry, she becomes a character in the comic, and the character's name is Baby. She doesn't know how to react to this because the way that he draws her is fat, and Cherry is fat. But there's a difference between knowing you're fat and seeing someone draw you as fat with a double chin and with the belly and hips. And it's really mortifying for her, actually, that her boyfriend has created this character that looks like her. And it isn't, she kind of wishes he'd draw her a little bit more flattering. But it doesn't really matter because it's a webcomic and nobody reads it. Fast forward 10 years. Cherry has become She's no longer an artist. She's climbed the corporate ladder. She is an executive, an associate vice president at a railroad. And Tom's webcomic has gotten really popular. It has become a phenomenon. I think of it like Calvin and Hobbes, like crossed with something Taylor Swifty, like that popular. It's just everywhere you turn is this comic. They're even making a movie out of it, which is a problem for Cherry because that means that they're going to cast an actress to play her or to play Baby, if they can find an actress in Hollywood who's still fat enough to play her. She's really just haunted by the character of Baby. Tom is such a gifted artist that he's created this likeness of her that is so great that if Cherry goes to the grocery store, people point at her and go, "Oh my God, it's Baby." So as the book begins, Tom and Cherry are separated. As he's become more successful, that success has really crowded out their marriage, and it's become harder and harder for them to talk about things. At the beginning, Cherry isn't able to talk to him about this comic because she feels like, well, it's his art, and I can't really edit it or take myself out of it. Well, when his art becomes his whole life and he's so successful, she doesn't really know where she fits anymore. So Tom's living in Los Angeles. He's working on the movie. Cherry's living in Omaha, and she's trying to figure out really who she is without Tom, and what does it mean to fail? Having your marriage fail is such a failure. And what does it say about her? And how does she kind of look at herself in the mirror, knowing that she's messed up the thing that's most important to her? So in the wake of these feelings, Cherry decides she's going to go out to a concert, and she's never been to a concert by herself before. She'd always gone with friends, but now all of her friends have kids or they're caught up in their jobs and nobody wants to go down to the local rock club and see this concert. She goes, she's by herself, and she runs into this old friend, a guy named Russ, who she knew back in college. In fact, he dated a roommate back in college. And Russ is handsome. He's very engaging. He works in city government. He's so happy to see her. He's divorced. And the best thing about Russ is he might be the only person in Omaha or America who has never heard of her husband's comic. He's like, I don't read comics. I don't look at pictures. I read books with, he's just completely checked out of this world, which makes him very attractive to her. So this book, Cherry Baby, is a love story. But I think more than that, it's a person story. It's really about Cherry. It's about marriage. It's about success. It's about being fat at a time when weight loss drugs have made it feel like if you're fat, you're almost choosing to be fat. It's a much different feeling for Cherry. It's also about family. She has 4 sisters who are basically the Greek chorus in this book, and they've got an opinion on everything that she does. I think at the highest level, it's a book about accepting yourself and accepting yourself enough that you can accept love from other people.
Thank you so much. I have so many questions for you that I'm going to hold on to. But I felt like this book is coming out at a really perfect time right now. And I think it's extremely relevant, like you said, especially with everything we're seeing in Hollywood, on our TVs, everything we're scrolling on our phones and seeing constantly, even covertly, we're not realizing that's what we're seeing. So I'm just really excited for people to read Cherry Baby, which is on sale April 14th. So I am going to put you back in the virtual green room and pass it off to Lainey.
Oh, thank you, Rainbow and Grace. I'm going to welcome on Willy Vlautin on screen so we can talk more about his new book. Willy, come on down. I'm an announcer for a game show tonight, I guess. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
It's so good to see you.
I forget how, because I don't hang out with that many writers. And so to be reminded of how much other people love libraries is really, it's really fun because, the greatest library in the world is in Reno, Nevada, downtown Reno, Nevada. And it was like my favorite place. And if I hit it, I think I said this to you the last time we talked. Mm-hmm. If I ever hit it big, I would buy the library and I'd live inside it. And I don't know if I'd build a better library for somebody else and just live inside that one.
Oh, well, before I do your bio, I just want to point out, because you brought this up, we have you came to PLA, the Public Library Association 2 years ago, I think, and you did a great talk. And in that talk, you talked about how much that library means to you. And we have it somewhere because we loved it so much we put it on our website. So I'm gonna find it and I'll put it in the chat so everybody can read that because it was so beautiful.
Cool. It was fun to hear everybody else talk about how much they like libraries too. It's really
yeah, cool. It's a love fest for sure.
It is a really cool thing.
Okay, let me introduce you. So Willy Vlautin is the author of the novels The Motel Life, Northline, Lean on Pete, The Free, Don't Skip Out on Me, The Night Always Comes, and The Horse. This new book is called The Left and the Lucky, out April 14th. He's a founding member of the bands Richmond Fontaine and the Delines, and you are the 2025 winner of the Joyce Carol Oates Prize. This honors authors of fiction who advance the vision and mission to drive social change and unleash artistic power across the generations and the nation. And I think it's summed up perfectly with this great quote from your editor, Amy. We all really love Amy. And she said, reading Vlautin's work is an exercise in empathy and a lesson on how to be a better human being. I love that so much. And I can't wait to hear more about The Left and the Lucky because those themes run through this very special read.
Yeah,
so tell us more.
Amy Baker is the best. So yeah. Well, The Left and the Lucky started with I read a quote, like I've read Primo Levi's books, and there was a quote, it says, every human being possesses a reserve of strength whose extent is unknown to him, be it large, small, or non-existent. And only through extreme adversity can we evaluate it. And that idea got me thinking of like going to a grocery store and just picking random people and lining them up in a row and say, who of you can handle hardship? Who of you can really get over the hump of a difficult time? And it's not always who you think. It might be the old lady that's got what Charles Portis called true grit, you know. It might not be the tough guy Marine that has it. So I started thinking about that. That's kind of the way I write. And then I started thinking about that in terms of brothers. I'm always interested in brothers, I guess. And I started thinking about two brothers living in a kind of a dysfunctional home, how they handle adversity different. You have a 15-year-old brother who's, you know, kind of good looking and has friends, has a girlfriend, but he's kind of ruled by rage, by anger. And his life, when hardships befall him, he gets angry. And his little brother is 8 years old, named Russell, and Russell doesn't really fit in, doesn't have friends. He, you know, cries at a drop of the hat. He still wets the bed, but he has that thing, that true grit thing, that he can chess move his way out of bad situations. He inherently knows that he's got to just make little moves to make his life better. So these two brothers live with a mother that's, you know, an exotic dancer who's gone every night, and the grandmother who's supposed to kind of take care of him, you know, is a depressive, battling early stages dementia. So a really bleak situation. And I started thinking about life of like when you're in those kind of bleak situations, you know, it's like being in black and white. It's like you're in a black and white movie. It's stark and it's full of shadows and there's no brightness to it. And I started thinking about how you could be in that world. You could live in that world in your house, and right next door to you could be what's my favorite, which is like CinemaScope, that big widescreen 35 millimeter lush thing. I think they started that in like the 50s, but it's my favorite, those movies, those old big CinemaScope movies. And I think next door to these two brothers lives this house painter who's a 42-year-old like workaholic whose wife just left him. And the little kid Russell just sees him as this kind of icon of stability and fun, because, you know, Eddie Wilkins, the painter, understands broken people. He understands people that have gone through hard times. And so if you've ever been around somebody that is like that, they attract strays. You know, if you're susceptible to caring about a wounded person, well, that wounded person is going to come find you. And so his employees are like a maniac maverick, Houston, a guy who can't stop talking, and then another guy that can't stop talking, you know, compulsive lying, blowhard really, named Cordero. but to an 8-year-old kid, it's heaven. You know, it's adventure, and so all of a sudden he sees that the world could be beautiful outside. And so it's a story of a little kid trying to just move his way into a stable life on his own, and also seeing how his older brother can't do that, who struggles with that. So why I picked house painter? Well, I was a house painter for 13 years, I hate to say. And you know, my cousin was like my main buddy in my early 20s, and she went out with a painter, and I was always, and he was a bad guy. I don't think he was really nice to her. He did a bunch of bad stuff, and he had a, you know, paint splattered truck and all that stuff. So I just hated him because he wasn't nice to my cousin. And I said, man, I'll never be a painter. I'm scared of heights, so I'll never be a roofer, and I'll never be a painter. And then like 12 years later, I'm painting, and I was so ashamed of myself for being a house painter that I decided someday I was going to write about a hero house painter, like a legendary house painter. And I tried in this one. So that's why he's a house painter. And the only other really, I think, exciting thing is my band, The Delines, just finished recording a soundtrack to the book. It's a crazy thing to do, to write soundtracks to a book, but I'm hoping that it'll be fun for people who read the book, because it has the same kind of black and white starkness to it, like a darkness to it, but also has a real lightness to it, and easygoingness to it, which I think the book has, you know, kind of mixed together. It's black and white, living next to CinemaScope, really.
Oh, that's great. I'm so happy to know there's going to be a soundtrack, because you've written songs and done soundtracks for previous books. And I'm telling you, I'll just play them just to listen or read other things. Like, they're just so haunting and beautiful. And so I didn't want to ask, but I'm very glad to know that you have a soundtrack coming.
Yeah, I was excited by it because, you know, when you finish a book, or like you see a really beautiful movie, and you can go track down the soundtrack to the movie, and then you're like, oh, I can live inside this movie until I get bored of the songs. And so I was always like, man, it'd be really fun. Like, you finish a book and you're like, oh, I want to live inside that book, but I want to live inside it while I'm driving or working or doing something. I can listen to it and still live inside it. So that's
Oh my goodness.
been the
Don't
dream.
skip bad on me. I turned that album on and I'm there. I'm there, man. It's so good. Oh, that's so great. And I love that you talk about, you know, this relationship, with what the book's about, this relationship between Eddie and Russell. And I think what's so special, it's kind of it's about safe spaces. And so you really see Russell learn to trust, but then I love seeing Eddie learn things from Russell too. And like, that was the really cool part.
Yeah, for a guy that attracts strays, that understands hardship and understands people struggling, that means he's struggling or been really affected by somebody in his life that has really struggled. So yeah, he does. He gets a little reason to live too with Russell. I think it makes him try harder. And I mean, he quit smoking for Russell, really.
Yeah, that's a hero right there. I mean, he's there for him when other people aren't. Oh, well, thank you so much. And we're gonna keep talking, but I'm gonna bring everybody back on screen so we can read some stuff from the audience, and then we can, you know, see if there's any questions, come back with our own. So everybody come on back. This is so I could just sit here and listen all night. This has been really wonderful. So thank you. Grace, do we have some comments to read to everyone?
A lot of comments. Somebody commented about how Joshilyn is so entertaining when you pitch it, and somebody was like, former actor, that's why. People said they're hooked already. Let's see, we have Robin said, Boston, you grad here, and yes, when visiting Boston Public Library is a must-see. I'm bouncing between platforms, so I'm trying to catch up here. We have Sylvia says, hello from Omaha to Rainbow.
Yeah, out the window.
Yeah. Tim said, yay, Willy, your books break my heart in a good way, and this one is really doing a number on me. After a few chapters, I just want to take them home and give them a good meal and a hug. Russell especially. So we have a lot of love coming in. And yeah, we have just a really, really engaged and excited audience tonight. So just really, really happy that you're all here. And we can dive into some questions. I was just thinking, Willie was talking about music, but Rainbow, your books always have a musical element to them. Slow Dance had obviously that through thread of music, but also Cherry Baby, that concert she goes to is really a catalyst in the book. And I asked you this last time and you had a great answer, and I was writing songs down. So was there music you were listening to when you were writing this, or music that was inspiring you at the time?
Oh yeah. If you go on my Spotify, I always make my playlist. I do not have the power, Willie, to create my own soundtrack, but I built them.
I think you have a lot of powers. You just weren't dumb enough to stay in a basement playing guitar for years.
So you can go on Spotify and see it, but I was definitely into like Neve Reagan for this book. There's a lot of heartbreak in this book. So I was on it. I listened to God Only Knows 30. That was my #1 song of last year by the Beach Boys. So that was all of my top 10 songs were from writing one scene in this book.
Wow.
It must have been a hard song to write because I just kept going. Or a hard scene to write.
Oh, I would ask you what scene, but I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. So I think I have a feeling I might know. Maybe we'll chat after. Would love to hear that. So I was just curious about that. Lady, do you have something you want to ask, or do we want to?
Yes, we have some questions coming in on Facebook. Let's see. We have, Joshilyn, are you gonna read the audiobook again?
Oh yeah.
I am. They just contracted me to do that. And I do want to say about audiobooks. I know I'm supposed to be talking about my own book, but because we have the same publisher, I could be reading Cherry Baby right now. And the only reason I'm not is because I will wait for the audio version. I love her audio versions. And I will be reading the audiobook. I'm super excited about it.
Rebecca Lohman does all of my audiobooks.
I know. I love her voice. I would listen to her read a grocery list, but I'm a big Gross fan. Sorry, I'm all flushed. But so I can't wait for a Cherry Baby. But yes, I'm gonna read the audiobook, and I'm super excited to get back in the studio.
Yeah, so,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, what is the experience like reading your own audiobook? Like, what is that feel?
It's so much easier than reading anybody else's, because
you know what's gonna happen.
I know what's gonna happen. I know all the voices. I've been hearing them in my head for like a year and a half. So I don't have to rehearse. I go in and read the book just the way I've heard it in my head for the 2 years I was working on it. So it's like a cheat code. Other people's audiobooks take a lot more prep work.
I love that.
Okay. I was so engrossed in what you were saying.
While I'm fangirling here, I've always wanted to meet Rainbow because I first met your work with Eleanor and Park, which was also a very heavily musical book, by the way. And right after that, you started doing comic books. And I got this idea, and another writer that I knew started doing the same thing, Delilah Dawson. And so I wrote a book called The Almost Sisters, kind of based on like if you and Delilah Dawson had an imaginary baby, what would her life be like?
And now I have to read it.
So but the audiobooks are great. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I love that. That's great. So Kate, I want to ask you, because this is fantasy, a little different from you. I know you're a big fantasy fan, so I have kind of a two-part question, but we'll start with, who are some of your favorite fantasy authors?
Well, I grew up it was like fantasy as sort of like my gateway drug into reading, because before I could read myself, my father read aloud to me a lot. And one of the things he began with was, some classic fantasies. So by the time I hit first grade and I was starting to learn to read, I had already devoured with him all of the L. Frank Baum Oz books and all of the Narnia books. So it's like I started with those, and then I branched out. And then, when I'm a middle schooler, I'm reading the Song of the Lioness books by Tamara Pierce. I'm reading the Dragon Riders books by Anne McCaffrey. You know, now I'm branching out into, you know, I'm seeing so much great fantasy being written now. The Five Queendom series by G.R. McAllister is, you know, a matriarchal series. It's like, I think of it as like matriarchal Game of Thrones. It is so great, and it was so good that I put it literally as a cameo. I put this world into the world of the Astral Library with Greer's permission, since she's a friend of mine. But some of the other ones I read this year that I loved, I love Alex Harrow. Her new book, The Everlasting, is just so incredibly gorgeous. And one of my best books of fantasy for this year was M.L. Wong's Blood over Bright Haven, which just like literally left me gasping.
I love that. And then the follow-up question is there, you don't totally get away from history because there's like a little fashion history and you have this whole other section of this book about fashion. So I don't know if you want to talk about like where that came from in this writing process.
Well, one of the things I follow a lot of these, you know, accounts online, which are like these historical fashion folks who either they know everything about fashion, like it's this blog called Frock Flicks, which is hilarious because they pull apart like every hilariously like every bad movie costume in a historical film. It is fantastically funny to read because they'll just be like back lacing on a 17th century gown, and they get so mad about this, and you know, I totally get it. And so it's like I love the little details of, you know, clothes that will bring a historical era to life. And then I fell down the rabbit hole of finding all these folks like Pinsent Taylor and like So Latido and the Honest Courtesan and so forth, where you have these people who have the gift for sewing incredible historical fashion and wearing it, and you know, like they have the most beautiful pictures, and they'll geek out about historical fashion influences in, you know, Natalie Portman's costumes in Star Wars, and how you can see everything there from like Korean historical cheongsams to and I butchered that horribly, I'm sorry, to like a medieval Hoplanda, and they go all geeky about this. And I love it when I see people have a niche thing that they geek out about, especially when it's something historical, because I've spent most of my life geeking out over niche historical stuff and, you know, watching people, you know, like edge away from me at parties. So it's one of those things where I kind of indulge myself in here because I love beautiful clothes and I love historic costumes. And I really love all these accounts of people, you know, who take pictures of the beautiful, you know, fabrics and these, you know, absolute, you know, tiny details that will make something not just a costume but a historical replica. And I just thought, how can I work that into the world of the Astral Library? And I did. So I had fun with that.
It's so cool. There's so many worlds. I was like, man, not just one world. We're just keep going. It's a feat. It's really great. Okay, so I have another. So Renee Hershkowitz wanted to ask Willy, they're intrigued that you said you're fascinated by brothers. Do you have brothers? Why do you want to write about brothers?
Yeah, I have a really cool brother. He's probably as close to a saint I think I've ever met. He's like the coolest guy. No, he's great. I guess I was always interested because I put my brother to be my father. You know, it was my mom and my brother and I, and it was a tough situation for him to be in, I think, in that role, and being always kind of searching for that, or romanticizing that your brother would save you. I think I always just thought somebody would save me, you know, and I thought my brother would save me, and my brother's like, you know, trying to buy a 12-pack of beer and get a date in high school. You know, he doesn't need his little brother tagging around. So I think it was some of that, you know, just half need and half romanticizing a better situation, I think. But yeah, my brother's a cool dude, man. He's cool.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Rainbow, I wanted to ask you, I was thinking about, in a very different way, Slow Dance had this theme of, I keep bringing up Slow Dance because I did love it so much and I was on my mind. It has that second chance sort of theme, and so does Cherry Baby, but I think people are going to be really surprised by what that second chance means. I'm not going to spoil anything, I promise, but
it's a little bit hard to talk about without spoiling. But you're right.
I just was, I think, you know, I think I can say without spoiling anything, identity is really at the core of this book. And I guess I wanted to ask about, if you could have readers take one thing away from Cherry's experience with her identity as a fat woman, what would you want it to be?
Yeah.
That's a big question. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, how much time do we have, Grace? I think I tend to get ideas in deconstructive ways. So I was thinking about the second chance and second chance romance, and it's always like, oh, you meet this guy, and of course he walks in, and then you've got this like wonderful second chance, and that really you need more chances with people. You need like dozens of chances to make something work with someone, and that there's failure along the way, and that even when this guy walks in looking so shiny, that's Cherry is bringing herself to each situation. So she's bringing her own flaws, her own mistakes, her own repetition, her own patterns to all of her relationships. And so it becomes kind of less about how shiny the guy is and more about how much Cherry can allow in her life and how flexible she can be and how forgiving she can be. I was talking to someone else about this book recently. You know, she's been married 11 years, and she's been with her husband for 11 years. And when you've been with someone for that long, like forgiveness is baked in because you are sharing your life with someone who has the most capacity to hurt you and probably will let you down. You know, like you're just together so much and you have so many opportunities to hurt each other and then also to help each other. So I feel like I made that more complicated because you asked about fatness. And one thing I think about fatness is I don't think of it necessarily as an identity. Like it used to drive me crazy with Eleanor Park when people would say, it's about a fat girl and a Korean guy. And I would think, wow, that is really boiling them down to that's not very meaningful. Like Cherry is fat, but that's like not her number one thing. And it's not the thing that when you get to know her, it's not the first word you would say about her. And yet it is still something she has to think about all day long. What I would hope people would take away is that the world doesn't really see you the way that you think that they do. You know, that you walk around with a picture of yourself. For Cherry, it's an actual drawing of how you think the world sees you, but that it's so inaccurate. And you have to kind of be flexible and let other people's perspectives of you and pictures of you in.
Yeah, I had such an emotional, fantastic time reading this book.
Thank you.
I love a book that makes me emotional in, you know, a variety of ways. And I just this one really resonated with me. So I wanted to thank you for writing it. And it was just, yeah.
Ask me this question again in 6 months, and I think I can get it down to like 3 sentences.
Great. Perfect. I'll have you come back and be like,
Okay.
and now Rainbow Rowell for her 3 sentences.
Yeah, exactly.
And I had another question for Joshilyn. This is a little self-indulgent, I'm going to be honest with you. But I was reading this book and is there anything that you researched to effectively write from a cop's perspective, a cop who's learning? But
Oh, I went to cop school.
Oh, you
Wow.
did? Okay.
I went to
Well, I was
cop
gonna say,
school.
like, were you like Googling crazy things? But I guess that answers my question.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
First of
Okay,
all,
tell us everything.
Yeah, back up.
I lived for many years in Decatur, Georgia, which means that I was befriended by the exquisitely perfect Karen Slaughter, who is one of the best human beings on the earth, a delightful writer. Love her
Lucky.
books. Yeah, oh, she's awesome. And so like I wanted to write this book about a cop, and she was like, and I was scared. I was like, I was whining to her about it. And she was like, go to cop school. I went to cop school, go to cop school. I was like, what's cop school? So you can sign up, and it's like Community Police Academy or something where you just learn about and you get to like go into the simulator with the gun and decide if you should shoot or not. And you get to like meet police dogs. That was my favorite part. And you get to meet like all the different kinds of cops and learn all this. I mean, yeah, it was awesome. It was several months, and I graduated from cop school with, I mean, not honors.
Congratulations.
But
Yeah.
I got all the way through cop school. So
Why am I like, of course Karen Slaughter went to cop school. I love that.
she was like, oh yeah, you just call them and tell them you're a writer and they'll take you on ride-alongs. And it's true. Like people love it when you're interested. A thing that I've learned is people love it when you're interested in something they're passionate about. So if you call somebody and say, I'm writing a book and it's about what you do and I want to get it right, can you give me some time and tell me all about your life? People love that. Like they get to talk about what they do and why it's important and why they're good at it and why they're passionate about it. So yeah, I got to go on ride-alongs, went to cop school. Yeah.
So perplexed. I was not expecting. I would thought you were gonna be like, yeah, I'm Googling how to like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not,
that
yeah,
was a
I'm
great
not
answer.
hands-on. Like if I'm gonna, like for never have I ever, I'm claustrophobic. I learned to scuba dive. Like if I'm gonna commit murder underwater, I'm darn well gonna learn how. I mean, I didn't do the murder, but yeah.
So she
Legal
said,
reasons. For legal reasons.
This is where cop school finds out they let you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That was an awesome answer. Thank you so much.
I love that. So I don't even know where to go from there. So, okay, questions. Our friend Lillian Dabney in Seattle said, Willy, you are hugely popular in Ireland. What draws the Irish people to your work? And will you go on tour there for this new book? And it's such a great title.
And do you need an
Thank you for
opening
having me.
act if you go on tour in Ireland, Willy, is the most important question.
Of course.
For
I
a
really
stagehand,
like
I'll
you.
carry
We
things.
just met, but you're in. I don't know, my band started doing like 25 years ago, maybe, or 20 years anyway. My band started doing better. My band Richmond Fontaine started doing better in Europe. I don't know why, really. We lucked into like a good manager and lucked into good tours, and then we played a lot in Ireland, and I did a lot of book stuff over the years, and it's a lucky place to go to. I mean, you get to be around literature and of the highest level, for such a small country. Man, they've pumped out like most brilliant musicians and most brilliant writers. So for me, going there is just lucky, and why they like me at all, I don't know. But it's like you all know, all of us, when somebody likes something you do art wise, you're just like, I don't know why. I'm not going to ask too many questions. I'm sure as hell glad they like it. So I don't know, but I am going back there, and I don't know, when the book comes out, I'm going back. Yeah. So.
That's awesome. Well, maybe I need to look into some flights. Come
you
see the
should.
show.
Lainey, I'll show you a good time. There's
Yeah, let's go to Ireland. All of us. We can do a trip.
Group
they have
trip
the
to
best
Ireland.
bars and the best bookstores, and they have like every place has their musicians are amazing. Like you
I
can't
love
walk down the
that.
street without hitting like a high class musician in Ireland, man.
I love that. I think that we got to most questions, right, Grace? There's no one am I missing anything before we do our last question?
Well, I wish we could all go out to dinner. I like all you guys. You guys
I
are
know.
really cool. So,
I gotcha. This has been really fun.
really has
I'm
been.
excited to read these books. They're cool.
I know. We have a very specific question about cop school. Says, how many days per week was cop school? Were they regular people, or did it include learning to be cops? Which I'm assuming they were all gonna be cops, probably.
No, I didn't go to like the police academy, which
Oh,
is a 2-year commitment. No, this is like you would go to cop school once a week, and it was, we got to, I mean, not got to, we went to like the morgue. We met with the forensic guy. I mean, it was cool. It was a long thing, and you went every week, and you saw all the parts of copping. It's called Community Police Academy, and most cities have it, and anybody can go.
Cool. Okay, so we're going to Ireland, the morgue. We're gonna go to Boston for the reading room. Like we're just making our way across.
Ireland,
Jocelyn,
the
I have
morgue
a
in
question.
Boston.
I have a question for you. How do you find reading audiobooks? Do you make a lot of mistakes? Do you get frustrated? Can you like how long can you go without making a mistake?
I started out as a playwright and an actor, and I did a lot of voice work before I was ever a novelist. So it's something I trained to do. I had classes in it when I was a young woman. So it's not, I don't make a lot of mistakes, just saying.
Now,
Have you read all of your own books? Have you done all of them?
No, I didn't read the first one because everybody thinks your first book is autobiographical, and my first book was about a wildly promiscuous murderess.
Mm.
So I let someone else read that one. But since the first one, I've read all of them.
Now, if we could actually have dinner and like we could all sit down with drinks, my icebreaker that I have for other writers, which is always a fun discussion, is what's the thing that you've Googled for researching a book that you know landed you on a list somewhere? And Joshilyn, I know what yours is because you've gone to school to figure out how to commit murder underwater.
I want to know what yours is, Kate, because if you're asking that question, it's
Yeah, good
because
point.
you've done something that keeps you up at night because you know you're on the CIA list.
Yeah, well, I did write a book about, the most illustrious and storied real life female sniper of all time. And I did have like a posited presidential assassination attempt. And it literally did, during COVID lockdown of all times, have me Googling, like, what's the line of fire across the White House South Lawn to the portico? And I'm just like, this is not good.
It's so not good. I mean, even just now, the spiders that are transcribing this, like lights just went off somewhere.
Oh,
Yeah.
you guys are a lot more messed up than me.
What's yours?
So I really
What's
like
yours?
it now.
Yeah, if anyone has any other
For
thoughts.
Rainbow, do you have one?
I was trying to think if I do. I feel like I have embarrassing ones. Like Slow Dance was my first book with sex scenes. And I feel like I was Googling a lot of like things that would just make me seem like I was 12. Because it would occur to me that like, wait, what if I don't actually understand how that works? And I'm about to reveal in a book that I don't, and some editor's gonna have like I'd get this paranoia that I didn't understand basic things. So then I would Google those basic things, and then I'd think someone's looking at my Google search right now, and I seem very odd. Yeah, but I don't think
and then what if your editor didn't know either, and then you're getting like 100 reader mails a day? No, you did the right
yeah,
thing.
it's publishing. Maybe nobody knows.
That's right.
I'm gonna say if two people let it pass, maybe that's something in America we need to talk about.
Well, I was nervous, but I've never Googled how to kill people. I
Me
Googled where
neither.
babies come from.
I didn't remember once I had to called a librarian and asked for because I was asking for, it was a reference question and it was for a book, and that was what are the early onset signs of syphilis?
Oh my God.
And the thing is, though, I really should have led with this is for a book, but because
Right.
because the librarian in question who I called for this reference question was one who I happened to know, whose name also is Mom.
I once asked a fireman at my church if I was going to burn down a museum. And I'm like going through this whole scenario, and I look up and he's looking at me like, and I'm like, what do I do for a living? He's like, oh, okay.
Okay, I'm kind of getting the feeling here that if we were actually around a table, Joshilyn and I are sitting down and going, okay, what's the next thing we're gonna do? And the other two are like, Willie and Rainbow are just like, we're leaving.
No, I would
Oh,
stay. I would
it's
stay.
the opposite. I want to stay. I'm not just laughing.
We
Yeah.
have to get a dinner together one
Yeah,
day. This would be so nice. This has been lovely. And they're okay. I told you, dog. Someone said, Kate, your dog and cat are having the best time behind you. They love seeing animals. So I
Two
told
dogs.
you.
There's the Imperial Beagle over there, and then there's the Praetorian dog over here. So
Okay, so they saw some, activity. I said that they would comment. Yeah, and then everyone's like, these stories are hilarious. Sign me up for the Irish tour.
Yeah.
Field trip, let's
trip,
go. Yeah.
Road trip.
So I think before we go, because we're at time, but I want to ask this. I think Grace and I have kind of on the side made a dual question. So we asked you at the beginning, like, we'll probably ask you what you're reading now and what you're loving, but I think you can also or say what book you would live in, like Kate's book.
But I will say I'm gonna be, so I do this, I make a catalog for librarians of these titles, so just say them a little like clearly so I can type as fast as my hands will
And
let.
we can do the recommendation one first if you want to kind of think about
or
what
just
you would live in.
whatever you want to do.
All right. So Kate, why don't you kick us off? What are you reading right now? What are you loving?
I'm reading the new Katie Mays, which I bought when I was in England, which so it has a different title. It's called Saltwater in the US, and it's called The Vipers in the UK. And it's fantastic. I'm loving it. And let's see, the other one the ones I've got queued up, honestly, are all the books from you guys. I mean, that's what I've got next to my Kindle.
Oh, okay. Rainbow, what about you?
So I've been, if anyone follows me on any social media, I've been reading Jonathan Wyndham for the last year. I've just been reading nothing but Jonathan Wyndham. He is a science fiction writer from the early 1950s. And Kate, when you were talking about growing up reading fantasy, for me, it was science fiction. And I feel like I've kind of come home to it in the last few years where I'm just I think for a while I felt like I had to read things that were more like what I write. And now I'm really in a phase where I'm realizing I really like to read things that aren't anything like I'd write. So I'm very into Jonathan Wyndham. Every single one is a winner. So like every time I put one down, I'm like another banger. But I only have 2 left. So it's me and Jonathan Wyndham finishing out 2025.
And then Grace, do you want like the last title of the one? Is it how you can put it in there?
whatever
Oh,
you read.
Do you happen to know the last title of the last book you read? Of that
yeah.
one?
Yeah. I just have to look at my list.
Oh, it's fine. We're just gonna make a catalog so they can
Oh yeah,
go
that's
back.
smart. Okay.
But
The
you
last
could
one I read was called Stowaway to Mars.
perfect.
It's like mid-pack. It's middle of the road for Jonathan Wyndham, who's long dead, so I can say that.
Yes, you can say that. Okay, Willie, what are you loving? What are you reading and loving?
Right now, speaking of like library legends, Ursula K. Le Guin was like for the Northwest, Portland in particular was like the saint of libraries. I mean, she really spearheaded good funding for libraries in Multnomah County, which is the county that Portland's in. So right now I'm reading Lay the Heaven, which I'd never read, and I'm really digging it. She's wild. I met her a few times doing library gigs or whatever, and she was always like, you'd always suck your gut in, and you'd always be like, don't swear, because she was always the smartest, coolest person in any room, and you're like, oh, I just don't want to mess this up. And then speaking of Irish, we were going Irish. The book that I always recommend. There's 2 of them. One's Roddy Doyle, is a hero of mine, and he wrote a book called The Woman Who Walks Into Doors. And then the book that's famous here now, which is Claire Keegan's Small Things Like These. That's a really legendary book that really was the first book in years that kind of stopped me in my tracks. And I mean, it's a really just a long, short story. But I read it back to back. I read it, finished it, read it again, and then listened to the audiobook because I couldn't shake it. So that's a cool one. And an easy one you can read in a couple hours.
Okay. Okay, Joshilyn.
I'm reading Ruby Falls by Jen Phillips. It's it's in the Great Depression, and it's a kind of a murder mystery, but like a take on a locked room murder mystery. The whole thing takes place like in the middle of this underground network of caves where there's this huge waterfall, and it's very tense and claustrophobic, but the characters are great. I couldn't pick a book that I would want to live in. I think I would cheat and pick the Astral Library so that I could pick a bunch of books. If you go into the Astral Library, like, all the doors open for you. Like because I couldn't pick one.
I like that answer.
Yeah, all the books I like are so dark usually.
That's what I was thinking.
I don't want to live in any of them.
That's actually what the characters struggle with in the book. It's like the worlds that we love to read about. We love them because they're full of Sturm und Drang. But that's probably a little more conflict than we actually want in our life. So, the heroine is a fantasy nerd, and she's like, yeah, but I really don't want, I might love reading, Game of Thrones, but I don't want to go live there.
Yep. Yeah. But I like the answer of going to the Astral Library. That's a good one.
It's super meta. I dig it.
Yeah, I like that. Well, thank you. So if there's anything else anyone wants to say before we sign off, please do. But I think this has been lovely. There's someone said, but we want to go to dinner. So they all want to come to dinner with us too. So
I thought of the actual last book I read, I think was maybe Overdue by Stephanie Perkins, or like one of the last books I read, which is about a librarian, and I do recommend it. It's like
Yeah.
a very slow burn romance about a librarian, Overdue.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
went on there. Cool. And I'm gonna put this in the chat for all of the librarians. That was a good list.
Yeah, thank you.
I loved, and it also adds to my TBR, which is great. All right.
Thanks.
Author.
Well, I don't want to go, but it's time to go. So thank you so much for talking to us. I'm going to read your pub dates one more time just so everybody has them. So tonight we heard from Willy Vlautin, author of The Left and the Lucky, out April 14th. Rainbow Rowell, author of Cherry Baby, out April 14th as well. Kate Quinn, author of The Astral Library, out February 17th. And then Joshilyn Jackson, author of Missing Sister, out March 3rd. All of the e-galleys are up, so if you don't have access already, go request them, get reading. And this has made my heart so full. It's been a great night. Thank you so much for taking the time.
What a beautiful way to end 2025 with all of you. So thank you so much. It has been such an honor tonight.
Thank you so much for having us. It's
Thank you,
always
guys.
Thank
such a
you.
pleasure as well as an honor to get to talk to so many librarians.
Yep. See you guys.
It was so nice to meet you all.
Yeah, it was a
Nice to meet
blast.
you.